Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live broadcast. I am Kimberly K. LeBou, CEO and founder of LeBou Publishing Enterprise, and we are gearing up for our Serenity Women's Writing Retreat that's coming up in April. And so I've just been highlighting some of our speakers. And so next we have up is Miss Tracy Chiles McGhee, who is going to be presenting at the retreat. And I'm so thrilled to have her joining us. So Tracy, hello and welcome.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this retreat coming up.
Me too. It's going to be fantastic. So I just wanted to bring you on just for a quick little interview, just to introduce you to our viewers, to the people who are going to be attending the retreat. And so I just wanted to get you on to just, first of all, I just want to share a little bit about how we met, and then we can go into the rest, because I believe our first interaction was when you were a coordinator for a trip to Ghana, right? That is how we first met, right?
Yes.
Because that's been a while. That was like in 2013.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that was a trip that like completely changed, my life in so many ways. And so it was my first time traveling out of the country, and you just made me feel so comfortable. And so, yeah, so that was our first meeting.
Yes.
How about that?
Phenomenal trip. Yep.
Yes, it was amazing, right? There was so much about that trip. We won't even go down that road, but there was so many good things about that trip. That, like I said, were just life-changing. So that was incredible. So that's how we first met. So I want you to share a little bit about your journey as a writer, because if people didn't read my post, let me see, a 9-time award-winning writer and best-selling author of the critically acclaimed novel Melting the Blues, and like a whole host of other things. So please tell us about your writing journey, like how you got started and where you are as a writer now.
I always say I was born by a river. I mean, I'm like, how far you want to go back?
Right.
I have been in love with words for so long. I remember I think it was 6th grade that the spelling teacher had this exercise where we were given all these spelling words and we had to create a story every week. And everybody was so excited to hear my story because it was like I could use my imagination. I could, put all these random words together. And that was the beginning of my love of storytelling. But my love of writing came out of my love for reading. I have always been an avid reader. And I remember reading one book and I was like, you know what? I can write a book too. And so I just started writing books. I just started writing stories, really. Because, many stories make up a book.
Right.
Eventually. And I also started doing more poetry and listening to more music. And so a lot of people say that my writing is lyrical. And I can understand why they would think that, because I like to infuse poetry and music. So I wrote this, Melting the Blues is like my signature novel, but I've written and won awards for essays and poetry and all kinds of genres. I say I'm a multi-genre writer.
Yeah.
And wow. I've written some children's books. I have on my laptop, you won't believe all of the projects I have.
Wow. Unpublished projects, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It will come at the right time.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about Melting the Blues. Tell our audience what that's like, because that's fiction, right?
Yes.
I know a lot of our authors that come through are nonfiction. So it would be nice to have your perspective at the retreat, because I know there are some people who are interested in writing fiction as well, which is not even what you're going to be talking about, but you'll probably talk about anyway. But talk a little bit about Melting the Blues.
Well, I really, really, really enjoyed writing that book, but it was very difficult. It was, like any story that has, where you feel this deep well to get it done, you want to get it done right. So I was talking to the ancestors. I was doing a lot of research. I was obsessed with making that book the best quality book that I could. And it paid off because I did get 6 awards for it, and a whole lot of um, readers who told me how much they enjoyed the book. But it was definitely a process.
How
Um,
long did that take you?
um, Probably a year just for the first draft, but it's the drafts that came after that. I had 3
Mhm.
editors during that time. One, my first one being Marita Golden, who said go back in, and then I had 2 more after that. Developmental. Marita does evaluations, and then I had an editor that was more developmental. And then once I decided I was going to self-publish, that was another editor to make sure that it was polished. You definitely want to be putting out quality work. So as
Right.
editing as possible, you edit it yourself. You get some beta readers to read it and see what they think. And then you get a professional editor and so that you just make sure that you're putting out the best quality work.
Yeah, because that's one of the best ways to ruin your credibility as an author is to not have your work edited properly.
That's
You
right.
know, wow. So that is super exciting. Go ahead.
But once I actually finished writing the book and through, I mean, it's a long story. I don't think it's, I have the time to tell that. But once
Yeah.
I decided that I was going to publish this book myself, then that major question that we all ask ourselves, okay, how do we do that? And more
Right.
importantly, how do we market this book? How do we become our own CEO of our project? And that's has been a major obsession with mine. Marketing, making sure that not only that I market myself as a writer, but market my writing project. So
Absolutely.
that is what I really want to
that
talk about at the retreat.
I was going to say that leads into that last question of what you're going to be sharing at the retreat with our attendees.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be able to discuss with the attendees a lot of strategies. And my whole thing is it shouldn't overwhelm you. It shouldn't stress you out. It should not be this thing that you fear, getting yourself out and promoting yourself. So I'm going to give some strategies that are, I call them low key, so that you can be out there, but not be, oh my God.
Yeah.
But every author, whether or not you're with a big publishing house or you do it yourself, you're going to be responsible for making sure that your baby gets the best distribution possible. So I can say that I have my book in libraries in Australia, that people have inquired in UK, and that I've done book clubs across the country. And actually I had I went to Paris. Nice. I had a book club there. So you have to make sure your book has the best chance. They say that only, most books you only sell about 250. So I'm like, at least we're gonna defy those odds.
Yeah.
250 for a lifetime.
Wow.
I'm like, come on now, we can defy those odds. So that's what I'm hoping to have that discussion at the
yeah. That's really good. That's going to be so awesome, so juicy. I can't wait, because I posted something in our LPE authors group the other day. It said something like, the day you stop talking about your book is the day it stops selling.
Absolutely. I was at a post office getting some books together, right? And I went up to a lady. I thought she looked familiar to me, but once I realized that that she wasn't the cousin of a best friend, boyfriend.
Oh Lord.
A complete stranger. I shifted and I said, you look like someone who enjoys reading books. Because I was all in my face, right? And that conversation led to, just randomly, she told me that her neighbor was Angela Bassett. And 2 weeks later, she sent me a very photo of Angela Bassett casually in her kitchen holding up Melting the Blues.
Wow.
You have to always be ready. You have to always have conversations, always be marketing your book, talking to strangers, and you just never know what happens. You never know.
Yes, that's an incredible story.
I know. Wow.
Like so random, but look at
So
that.
random, yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep talking about it. You got to keep talking about it, or else it just sits. And nobody goes through all that hard work to write a book to have it sit.
That's
So I am just, yeah, so I'm just so excited to have you joining us at the retreat. I know you have some other things you have to get to, so I promised not to keep you long, and so I'm not. I just want to thank you for saying yes to being able to come out and share with the attendees. And I know that they're just going to be super blessed by everything that you have to share with them. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I absolutely can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and to our viewing audience is the Serenity Women's Writing Retreat happening April the 8th through the 11th in somewhere in Maryland. What is that called?
It's an undisclosed location.
An undisclosed location in Maryland. If you want more details, head over to www.laboopublishing.com/events and you'll see all the details of the retreat there. We have very limited space left though. I'm so excited about that. But so if you want to get in there, you got to get in there because it is in April. And so we're closing off everything soon so that we can prepare for our attendees. So I'm excited about that. You have one last thing you want to say, Tracy?
Have a good evening, everyone.
Okay. All right, guys.
And
take care.
Yeah, get your spot for sure.
Yes, go get your spot for the Serenity Women's Writing Retreat. And we'll see you guys there. All right. Take care. Be blessed, everyone. Good night.